are in the YouTube chat, come over to the YouTube streams. No cap. Let's get it started.
Extended versions of my videos, go to patreon.com/traplawross. Also, you can now watch my new drops on Spotify, so go search me there. Here's the video. The Atlanta rap scene has experienced some major losses in recent years. The death of 𝘍𝘰𝘭𝘭𝘰 in May 2022 due to a rare medical condition, the murder of Takeoff in November 2022 following a dice game gone wrong, and the passing of 𝘍𝘰𝘭𝘭𝘆 in September 2024 due to an overdose.
I ain't gonna lie.
But most recently,
Not gonna
there
lie.
was the tragic and strange
R.I.P. 𝘍𝘰𝘭𝘭𝘆, bro. R.I.P. 𝘍𝘰𝘭𝘭𝘆, bro. Did he just say suspicious death? Hold on, wait. Maybe I'm tweaked out.
in September 2020. November 2022 following a dice game gone wrong, and the passing of 𝘍𝘰𝘭𝘭𝘆 in September 2024.
R.I.P. 𝘍𝘰𝘭𝘭𝘆.
But most recently, there was the tragic and strange death of young Scooter.
Now, if y'all don't know about young Scooter, bro, young Scooter is an Atlanta OG legend gang like Rears Big. But look, his passing was suspicious, so that's why we finna dive deep into this, bro. Cause first it was he died from an accident to his leg. Then it was he died from a gunshot from the popo. Then it was he got unalived from his leg. It's like, what's really going on? Now, if it isn't suspicious activity from the feds, his family, that's a big lawsuit bag. That's all I'm gonna say. Keep it pushing.
His 39th birthday. Young Scooter was in the same generation of rappers as Takeoff and 𝘍𝘰𝘭𝘭𝘆, but he never quite achieved the same kind of mainstream success as they did. However, within Atlanta, Young Scooter was known as one of the most respected artists in the city. In this respect, didn't necessarily have anything to do with his music, rather his character, as well as his reputation that he carried in the streets of Atlanta. Now, if he was in the current generation of rappers, to get this kind of respect, Scooter would probably have to have 10 bodies under his belt. But back then...
Don't let my brother play your brother. Now, that right there is a crazy album name. I'm going to just say that right now. First of all, it's long and it's crazy. Long live my brother. He probably killed your brother. Imagine that.
Case, because
Bloodhound
Scooter's reputation
Q50,
had nothing to do with catching hats or dissing ops. Born in 1986, Scooter was one of the last of the dying breed of Atlanta trap rappers to whom the streets were really all about the hustle rather than murdering your ops. And if Scooter's raps are to be taken seriously, he may well have been one of the biggest dope boys to come out of Atlanta since Big Meech.
So in this video, we're going to be taking a rapper.
At exactly who Young Scooter
that say
was,
a lot, don't
his
it?
status as the undisputed Jugg King of Atlanta, his insane backstory as one of Atlanta's most prolific drug dealers, claiming to have moved literal metric tons of dope in the streets without ever getting caught, and his
okay, let me chill.
death in the presence of the Atlanta police, who likely had their eyes on him for decades.
It could have been some planned attack. I feel like that's the angle Trap Lord Roy's trying to go for right now.
Zone 6, aka 𝘍𝘰𝘭𝘭𝘆.
Like, how old were you when you first started getting involved in street business?
13, 14 years old.
And I made 190,000. I'm working on Sunday.
Black Migos. So does that include the rap group Migos?
Nah, that don't include no Migos.
Like, I made a whole lot of money. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but I know I done spent millions.
Right?
Back in the day, Scooter was the
Niggas
one
having a
that
bad.
had the budget. He kind of was helping put money behind all of us, me, Scooter, and Future.
Keep going in my eye.
It was just, he
Gucci
just
man,
know, he just know more about the business, you know, I'm just strictly streets. So I really don't know like the business side of the music.
How many friends do you think you've lost?
Hold on, wait. I know I just paused on way too much. 30-minute video, but look, bro just said I only know the street side aspect of the music business, not the music part, right? Now that made me think, bro. Like, come on, like, listen, if you're not in the community, bro, then you don't really know. But it's crazy that it's like, gang, once you get in the community, like you get in the game of rapping, why do a lot of artists decide, bro, let me stay in the street too? Let me put one foot out here, one foot in here. You not making enough money in the music, gang? Leave that alone. Your life is saved, nigga.
You know, from violence.
Man, it's a lot, like more than 20.
Atlanta 911 operator 871.
Stay hydrated,
the
you know.
location of your emergency.
There is literally a whole domestic dispute going on. Guys coming in and out of the house with guns and stuff. This girl doesn't have on any clothes. They threw her outside. I believe the girl is hurt. The house needs to be investigated.
Atlanta police held a news conference about the death of a 39-year-old man, Kenneth Bailey, also known as rapper Young Scooter.
Died on his 39th birthday after several...
Dang!
suffering a leg injury that led to severe bleeding.
They say there were no shots fired.
And then the woman was drugged back into the...
That's what was reported. We have not been able to substantiate any of that.
Got the mugshot.
So was that the call from his girl?
Who Atlanta police say placed a fake 911 call that ended in the death of Atlanta rapper Young Scooter.
This scallywag decided she was going to call the police and make a false report. If this chick hadn't called, made a false report, lied, Young Scooter wouldn't be dead right now. She killed Young Scooter, and she needs to face the consequences for it.
Okay, now look, before we go any further, gang, y'all remember the whole P&B Rock situation? RP P&B Rock. You feel me? Another dope nigga. Now look, y'all remember the situation where it's like, people was like, oh, his girl set him up. Now, with Young Scooter and Shorty on the phone, who they claim made a fake 911 call, I ain't been keeping up with it, but Birdie, I think she getting the same type of, you feel me, same type of treatment that, you feel me, old girl got P&B Rock girl. I ain't gonna lie. I just heard academics in the back. And when you get that big nigga on you, let me chill.
You know what it's like when you're trying to handle some important business, flying in and out of the country, putting in that work. But imagine landing in a country where you can't get data and missing out on an important but my bizarre. I can get
dang. How long is this?
Back to 28th, 1980. Young Scooter, real name Kenneth Edward Rashard Bailey, was born on March the 28th, 1986 in Walterboro, South Carolina, a small town of less than 6,000 people. But when he was just 9, his family moved to Atlanta, Georgia, more specifically, the Kirkwood neighborhood in East Atlanta, aka Zone 6, an area
little
that's
fingers on
sometimes
shit,
been referred to
dirty
as
land,
Mexico,
dirty
but
stick.
not because the community had a large Latino and Hispanic population. In fact, Kirkwood used to be a majority black area during Young Scooter's childhood, but it's since become increasingly gentrified like many neighborhoods in Atlanta and is currently majority white and middle class. But anyway, the name Lil Mexico appears to come from the fact that the residents there considered themselves to be hardworking and community-oriented like Mexicans, but also because it was a place where a lot of hustling was happening and where things could get very treacherous, just like in areas of Mexico that are run by the drug cartels.
Kirkwood, East Atlanta.
I'm telling you,
Zone
bro.
6.
Like if you really pay attention and you listening to the music, you watching the shows that's based off this type of stuff, based in these areas like Atlanta, bro. If you pay attention, bro, you'll really see like Atlanta really that, what they call it, hot Atlanta, and then that in Miami, bro. You gotta pay attention, and they really haven't worked. Man. They haven't worked with the Mexicanos. Shout out my hermanos back home, man.
AKA 𝘍𝘰𝘭𝘭𝘰𝘸 Young Rich, we plugged up for real. You can't just walk in this hood. The reason we call it 𝘍𝘰𝘭𝘭𝘰, this ruthless, dog. We got the lowest numbers you can never get.
There were, and are, several different gang sets that rep Lil Mexico, the most famous ones being FPG, aka the Free Dance Gang, made famous of course by the rapper Future.
Sensational.
And their very close affiliates, the BMG, aka the Black Migo Gang, which Young Scooter would begin to rep most when he got older. Interestingly, while Black Migo Gang was repping Lil Mexico proudly, they would also become known for repping the American flag as their symbol. Young Scooter was raised by a hardworking mother who Scooter described as a hustler too, who knew the streets. And in his song 80s Baby, he would even rap that she was the plug, aka the top level dope supplier for their block back in the 90s. But Scooter had little to no connection with his father, who would apparently become a drug addict, as he would also rap in the same song. In his interview with DJ Vlad, Scooter would tell that he hopped off the porch when he was about 13 years old.
Most people ain't, you feel me? Most people ain't
already in the late 90s.
They ain't built like that, bro.
His mom was the plug.
They just born into
Like
this.
how old were you when you first started getting involved in street business?
Yo, what's good, Nick?
About 13, 14 years old.
Sound about right.
13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember what got you into it initially?
No, just being around and living in that atmosphere. Like when you living in the streets and you can't move
fire,
out the hood,
bro.
and that's how you know that that's what it's gonna be.
In August 2006, Scooter would be arrested for misdemeanor theft and felony drug trafficking charges, to which he would end up pleading guilty to in January 2008, receiving 3 years of probation as a first-time offender.
So we really like learning
case,
the history
he would
of
decide
our,
to pursue
before we
music
even
as a
dive
way
deep
out of
into
crime. However, of course, music wasn't going to bring in money immediately, and it seems that Scooter would keep hustling in the streets for the time being. And as a video posted on YouTube in 2010 shows, it was seemingly going very well for Young Scooter. But Scooter also had certain aces up his sleeve when it came to rapping, because one of his good friends was none other than Future from the Free Band Bands Gang, who was a few years older than Scooter and whose music career had already started in the early 2000s when he was still known by the artist name Meathead. Soon, Scooter began dropping music himself, often performing in songs together with Future, like the song Free Bands from 2008. Scooter would also seemingly release his first mixtape in 2009 titled Plug Talk, which has unfortunately been largely lost to time, although some songs are still available online, like one called Hoodrich, which follows more the sound of old Gucci Mane songs, being likely produced by the legendary Atlanta producer 𝘍𝘰𝘭𝘭𝘰𝘸 who also produced much of Gucci Mane's early discography. Scooter would keep dropping music, often with Future, rapping about one thing and one thing only.
I'm really just trying to figure out, like,
repeat terms like
what's the real, what happened to bro,
ways of making money, and would eventually begin to call his style of rap count music.
I'm gonna let you know, Nick. I'm gonna let you know I got you, bro.
Played by hustlers while counting their profits, even claiming that he trademarked the ad-lib "count up" so that others couldn't use it.
I'm tired of ass, bro. Your lame ass shit on.
I bought that word, kind of like that's all I want to do, kind of.
So you trademarked it?
You bought that word?
Yeah, I bought it.
Like as a trademark?
Yeah, I bought the word.
Wow.
Yeah. I bought the
so
word.
I can't say count up in my joint.
Count up. So many people using it to make money. You know what I'm saying?
And this simple formula seemed to be working very well for him, slowly gathering a bigger and bigger audience that was beginning to spread from the streets of Atlanta to the entire nation of America and beyond. And of course, it didn't hurt that through his connections, he would very quickly rack up features from some of the hottest rappers in Atlanta, including, of course, Future, also guys like Rocco, whose A1 label was involved in Scooter's early projects.
Hey, off topic, one nigga, bro, like, this is where it really started for me, like, because it seems to be like a continuous game, like, with artists that I like and they ended up passing away. The first artist I ever liked, gang, and they ended up passing away too early, bro, was Speaker Knockers. I really want to see how Speaker Knockers would have been, like, in this generation for real. That nigga was tough. All I want to do is count cover. It's tough, ain't gonna lie.
And Gucci Mane, who were both some of the hottest rappers coming out of Atlanta at the time, as well as up-and-coming superstars like Young Thug, whose career was just about to explode. Scooter was also close with DJ Swamp Izzo, who has now gained newfound fame for bringing back the late 2000s and early 2010s mixtape style with his contributions to Playboi Carti's music album.
Swamp Izzo!
But Scooter was not only close with Gucci Mane around this time, but there were also rumors spreading that he had signed to Gucci's 1017 Brick Squad label. But Scooter would dispute the rumors, saying that he was staying independent.
You're signed to Gucci Mane, right?
No.
Okay, so can you explain that for us? Because, you know, you've been affiliated with Future.
I'm still affiliated.
Okay.
I don't get.
The streets get mad confused.
The rap world got it like that.
Okay.
I just don't have a deal. I'm just my own person. I'm Black Migo.
2013 would be Scooter's breakout year.
Nah, that's smart. Independent artist.
Street Lottery on the 1st of January 2013. The cover of the album repped both the BMFBG, aka Black Migo Free Bands Gang, and Gucci's 1017 imprint. This tape would include many of the hottest rappers at the time, like Future, Bundy,
OJ the Juice
Man, Young Dolph, Chief Keef, and Travis Porter, and several songs that will become Young Scooter classics, such as the namesake song Street Lottery, featuring the Houston legend Bundy.
He got songs though, bro.
The music video for that song now having over 12 million
views. I peeped the 2017 clips. She was going crazy for a while. Oh, God. I got better clips though.
And of course,
I got way better
Columbia,
clips.
which would turn out to be Scooter's breakthrough hit.
I just needed to break it down with those.
Music video that was actually filmed partly in Colombia, whilst having cameos from both Gucci Mane and the 5-star stunner and CEO of the Cash Money Records,
Birdman.
While Scooter would rap about a familiar topic, saying that he had a cocaine plug directly in Colombia, so now he was bringing that good stuff in by the metric ton. The song would receive nationwide radio.
You gotta understand how much a metric ton is, gang.
Get spun on MTV. The song would even get a remix with a completely new music video and a star-studded lineup, including fake Birdman Rick Ross, real Birdman Gucci Mane, and of course, Birdman. Scooter would keep feeding the streets with mixtapes like Free Bricks 2 that he would put out with Gucci Mane in February 2013, but Scooter would also get in some legal trouble during his rise to fame, as he would be arrested for a probation violation in April, stemming from a 2011 arrest that included charges of felony forgery, driving without a license, and speeding. Scooter would be sent to jail for about half a year, during which he would incredibly
the
same jail cell
good,
with none other than Gucci Mane, who had gotten locked up in March in true gung-wop fashion for allegedly hitting a fan who was trying to get a picture with him in the head with a champagne bottle.
There was a rumor that you and Gucci were cellmates. Any truth in that?
Yeah, we were for like 2 months.
Oh, so
I've been good, gang. I've been good. How you been?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Still wondering how to get out this one. Ain't like nothing.
Gang sitting here asking a question like jail's supposed to be fun. Nigga, just cause you want to sell with Gucci Mane don't mean that shit fun, nigga. Fuck, I'm trying to get up out of here, nigga. Fuck. Dumbass question. Vlad always asking them op-ed, dumbass, lame-ass questions.
Sell, like, yeah, ain't good. Fuck, like, man, him and Gucci in the sale together, man, that ain't good. You stupid.
Shit, I swear to God, I ain't never watched this before. I swear to God, I ain't never watched this before. I ain't know he's finna react the same way I just read it. That was a dumbass question though on Vlad part, but fucking me. Yeah, nigga, he in the cell with Gucci Mane. Okay, nigga. He friends with him on the outside too. The fuck? Nigga supposed to be happy in there? Fuck. Get me out.
You think that the county kind of did that on purpose since they knew y'all knew each other and put you in the same cell, or was that by chance?
Yeah, you know they did.
Now, I would have loved to have been a fly on the toilet in their cell during this time.
No, you
wouldn't.
wouldn't.
Who knows what kind of high-level conversations and
No, you
freestyle
wouldn't.
sessions they were having over a double cup of toilet.
He's dick riding. He's dick riding. I would love to be a fly on the toilet cell. I would love to be a fly on the toilet listening to my conversations. You're glazing, nigga. You don't want it. Bro, first of all, let's actually think here. Trap Lloyd Ross. Let's think here. They put Gucci Mane, Young Scooter, in the same cell. Two niggas that make songs about drugs. Why do you think they did that? A RICO case, nigga. They trying to take them down. They bugged the cell. They trying to get them niggas to self-snitch. Are you stupid? You think they really talked about something like that? No, nigga. Talking about I want to be a fly in a cell. Yo, dumb ass want to be an insect that's locked up. You dumb as hell. You glazing that nigga. What the fuck? Him and Adam 22 are both feds. Oh God, Vlad the Police. Oh God.
Released from jail, he would spiral out of control with his own drug addiction, starting his infamous Twitter meltdown of September 2013. And while Scooter would be pretty much the only person that Gucci would give props to during these lean-addled rants, tweeting, "I swear to God, me and Scooter are the last real, authentic street dudes left." Gucci would attack numerous Atlanta legends that Scooter had a good relationship with, and moreover, Gucci would seemingly brag about having
Gucci
Scooter under
did
a
that in
contract
Nicki too?
along with Waka Flocka and Young Thug. Not long after the meltdown started, it would come to an end, as Gucci was arrested for carrying a gun while behaving erratically, leading him to admit his addiction issues and apologize for everyone he'd insulted, before being given about a 2-year sentence and eventually getting released in 2016, after which we would all come to know the new and improved Gucci 2.0. But at the time, Gucci would go back in, Scooter would...
Did Gucci get cloned? Let me know in the comments what y'all think. Did Gucci get cloned? Simple as that. I don't got nothing else to say. I just want to know in the comments. Comment. Did Gucci get cloned? Simple.
Be coming out, being released in October 2013, and he would hit the streets running, eventually leading him to drop the Street Lottery 2 mixtape in January 2014, which again included features from numerous big-time artists like Future, Chief Keef, Cameron, Wiz Khalifa, and Young Thug.
Nigga, don't skip over OJ the Juice Man
Birdman around this time, and he would even tell DJ Vlad that while he liked being independent, he was possibly considering signing to Birdman and Lil Wayne's YMCMB label.
2K just trash.
I'm just strictly independent, but really, I really been talking to Birdman about the situation. That's the only person I really been talking to.
Birdman. Okay, so there's a possibility you might go to Cash Money or Young Money.
Yeah.
I'm back. What's good,
about that crew that you think would be a good fit?
I can't really say like it's just somebody that'd be a good fit. I just know like the relationship I got with Bird. It's just like I could be hands-on Bird. I go to a label.
Make sure if y'all are on the YouTube video, make sure y'all come through to the YouTube streams.
Do that.
Facts.
I can't talk to the like, you know what I'm saying? I want to talk to who I'm signed to. Don't me to your goddamn assistant. I know I signed to Bird. I could talk to Bird. You know what I'm saying? He hands-on. I talk to him now every day. So it ain't gonna be no different.
It is so, but you know how we do.
Meanwhile, Scooter and Gucci's relationship would once again go through a rough patch when Gucci would suddenly tweet from behind bars that he was trying to sell Scooter's management and artist contracts for $200,000. But young Scooter was never one to beef on social media, and when asked about Gucci by DJ Vlad later that year, Scooter would say that he still...
You telling me, gang?
Run Windows, Linux, and more on your Mac with unmatched performance.
Still spoke.
Bro, just tried to sell his whole
Gucci guy
catalog for 200 bands.
Are you guys still talking?
That's tough.
Yeah, I talked to him I ain't talked to him in a couple of weeks, but he good. Yeah, he just got.
It's got banned again.
Okay, so you talked to him
bro,
a few weeks ago.
They put the ban hammer on niggas because they cheating.
What's the update? Like how's he doing?
That's why they cheating.
You know, once you get your
they didn't let nobody.
Bro,
nobody was safe.
He ain't going nowhere. You know the walls don't move. You just gotta wait it out and just ride and do it time. He say he good though.
Scooter's relationship with Gucci would be one of the only personal issues that he would ever divulge publicly in any way. One of the last times being in the song Sushi in 2018, where Scooter raps how he's probably never going to make another song with Gucci. However, when fans would take this as a diss to Gucci, Scooter would deny this, saying how Gucci was one of the only real street guys left in rap. As Scooter was hitting it big time with songs like Columbia and Work,
come on, bro, let's get to the point, bro.
The Black
Let me see, hold
gang,
on.
he would often rep in his music. Given that the Migos, who were also from the metro Atlanta area, were perhaps
we finna just skip to it right now. I ain't gonna keep y'all waiting too much more longer, bro. Let's really get into this.
After Scooter's initial breakthrough from 2013 to 2015, he would clearly step back from rap, and while he would still release projects, they would begin to come out with longer and longer intervals, and he would never again receive a similar mainstream solo hit like Columbia. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that young Scooter was slowly becoming irrelevant, as his singles and music videos would still rack up millions of views, not to mention that he would still get features, or would feature on songs with his famous friends, like the 2017 song
Nate was
by
definitely
Jugg that featured Scooter, as well as Quavo and Offset from the Migos, which had a music video racking up over 150 million views. Scooter would also help the next generation of rappers from his hood get into the industry, most notably Rallo, who was almost 10 years younger than Scooter, but would grow up close to Scooter's family, and would be affiliated with both the Black Migo gang and a gang known as Fam Goon, who would operate particularly around the area known as the Bluff in northwest Atlanta, known as perhaps the most infamous drug dealing
that movie tough. Y'all need to watch it.
How'd you link up with
that movie tough.
Scooter and Future?
Me and Scooter, we grew up together, know what I'm saying? His mom, Miss Betty. People don't know that his mom went with Swamp Izzo, know what I'm saying? And they had a family together. And they used to
Swamp Izzo hitting that nigga, my.
And me and Kyrie, we was best friends.
Let me chill for some niggas come after me. Hey, forgive me, I'm sorry, bro. Forgive me.
I used to be with his brother, Heavy, Kyrie. And that how me and Scooter became friends, know what I'm saying? And when he seen that I was doing music, and he was already doing music, know what I'm saying? He down there OG and me, cause I ain't number 23. So when he found out I was doing the music, he was 100% behind me, know what I'm saying? And he gave me all he got, know what I'm saying? His dudes be around me every day, but I used everything that he was able to give me to my advantage, know what I'm saying?
But clearly Scoot was not putting a similar emphasis on his own rap career as he once was, which got some fans thinking that young Scooter actually never stopped jugging and finessing in these streets. If that's true, Scooter might just have been one of the best trappers out of Atlanta, because besides some of his early cases, he surprisingly had very few problems with the law.
Now, I'm gonna keep it real. He always talking about Colombiana. He calls himself the Black Migo. His gang is called Black Migo Gang. He's based out of Atlanta. He's hanging around Gucci Mane, Birdman. If I recall, didn't they say Big Meech around that time? He calls himself Jugg Guy, gang. And Gucci Mane tried to sell his whole catalog for $200,000. Now, if you could sell a nigga catalog for $200,000, that means his music ain't really doing nothing for you, gang. It's not doing much. So if you think he stayed relevant and respected in these streets for that long just off music, you a slow nigga. But it's cool. I'm going to teach you. This nigga was jugging his whole life. That nigga was jugging since 13 and he kept it strong throughout his whole life. Respectfully, young Scooter was a smart nigga. I'm going to just put it like that. The streets didn't take him out. So for you to have a career as long as this, go to jail a couple times for real, but not on some vision, nigga. Respect. I respect you, nigga. R.I.P. young Scooter, nigga. You jugging and finessing and moving them bricks, nigga. Got 2 new whips. You gotta send me them all.
His crew would go down in a 2018 drug bust that was major. Many sites reported on the case, highlighting him as a Black Migo gang member. Young Scooter would seemingly skate by without any relation to this case.
We can talk about that in this video.
Lyrics are to be believed, he was literally running a drug empire like Pablo Escobar.
Nigga, Black Migo.
Scooter would rap about how he always kept at least $60,000 in his pocket, and that was his jug money, aka his money to buy the next pack of drugs. And even back then, he would mention jugging all the way overseas to get the packs into America. And of course, being from Little Mexico, Scooter would apparently have plugs across the border too, saying how his essay made him a millionaire all the way back in 2012 when the rap money was certainly not doing that good for young Scooter.
Back in the day, Scooter was the one had the budget.
Right. Don't wanna be with Jay when it's hurting everybody.
He kind of was helping put money behind all of us. Me, Scooter, and Future.
Scooter would also mention how he kept bricks of dope in every trash can in Mexico, this likely referring to the neighborhood of Little Mexico, not the entire nation of Mexico, unless. As well as saying that he was road running drugs all the way.
Today I'm trying out co-producer from Output. Go ahead and capture audio. Let's go ahead and find some samples.
all the way to New York. And of course, by the time Scooter was beginning to make some real money with rap in the dope game, he had apparently been moving metric tons and was making million-dollar runs in Colombia with his plug named Hector, who he would apparently teach how to remix the coke, I assume using different cutting agents to increase the quality. And
this nigga is crazy.
Cartels, then he definitely
we need to show on this nigga.
Jugg King. But Scooter wasn't just selling drugs. He would often call himself a talking drug who had $1 million drug habit of his own, although he would also mention that the money he made from drugs was so much that it could land him on the Forbes list. So a couple $1,000s for a pint here and there would hardly hurt his pockets. But when Scooter began to slow down his musical output,
I got myself a new setup.
His raps about jugging became more detailed, often mentioning specific numbers that his drug deals involved, showing that if Scooter hadn't become a rapper or a professional juggernaut, he could have easily become a mathematician. And when he wasn't a talking drug, he was the human calculator. In his later days, after being on a years-long juggathon, Scooter would reach a well-deserved OG status, which he would reflect on in his music, savoring the impact that he had left and the accolades that he had earned. In all seriousness though, although Scooter might not have been the most thought-provoking lyricist or the most unique rapper artistically, the type of drug dealer raps that he made very well. He had become arguably one of the most respected rappers in Atlanta, not because of his music, but because of the way that he carried himself and conducted himself around his peers and in the streets.
His lore is crazy.
Really involved in the rap
this
game,
nigga right here got aura.
He was clearly a gifted
and the way this
businessman,
nigga Ross is talking about him, it might be more than Big Meech.
In 2025, his life would come to a tragic end. On March the 28th, young Scooter was celebrating his 39th birthday, reposting birthday wishes that he was getting from family, friends, and fans. But then at approximately 5:23 p.m., Atlanta police would respond to a 911 call reporting a domestic dispute on the William Nye Drive, located
Females,
in the Lakewood Heights suburb in South
they
Atlanta.
always
The
your
call would
downfall.
report that a naked woman was beaten and dragged inside, and 7 armed men were in the house, and that she had heard 3 gunshots fired, suspecting that the house was involved in drug dealing and prostitution.
Tell me exactly what happened.
Okay, so I'm the neighborhood watch, and basically, like I said, these guys they're like selling drugs in and out of the house. All you see is guys coming in and out of the house with guns and stuff. They hold the guns in the air, and then it's like, I'm not sure if they're pimping, but it's the situation that's going on right now. This girl doesn't have on any clothes. They threw her outside. He was fighting the girl. He literally fought the girl. I'm not sure what they was fighting over. If they was fighting over drugs, that's what it sounded like. It sounded like they were fighting over drugs. And then they started shooting. She had someone come over there, and they started shooting. But the house needs to be investigated. They're definitely doing illegal stuff over there, and it's disturbing the area.
How many shots were fired?
I would say 3. It was 3 shots.
When did it happen?
It's happening now.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Shorty that made this phone call went to jail, because if you don't know, making a fake 911 call, I think that's a federal crime. I'm not gonna lie, I think that's a federal crime. I don't think that's no misdemeanor. I think that's a felony, gang. I think making a fake 911 call is a felony. Plus her mugshot was going around, so I think Shorty went to jail. But for one, let's just start here. I think this was a Shorty that he was involved with. I don't know if it was BM or what, but look, to every great nigga, it's 2 sides to the spectrum. To every great nigga, it's a great queen behind his back. But on the other spectrum, for every great nigga, it's a demon on his back, bro. My stomach growling. That's how that's how serious I am about this. There's every bro, a female is the nigga's main downfall, gang. Like, real talk, bro. Like, what are you doing this for? He couldn't have made you that mad for you to do this, bro. Like, what?
So I believe the girl is hurt,
and they're coming from 273 William Nye Drive.
On his birthday.
Yes, and the girl
this is how evil
hurt,
females is.
Because she was like bleeding profusely, like blood everywhere.
Parlay definitely get placed today. Nigga just came up. Was it a pick on Insta?
Yeah, she's trying to get away, and they're
98 Civic from my girl. 04 TL6.
They brought her. The guy that was fighting her, she ran outside naked, and then he was fighting her outside. And then there was another commotion. She tried to get away. He dragged her back in the house. So now they're
how do you know all this?
Literally fighting.
Let me know. How do you know all this?
He's refusing to let her out. And it's like 7 guys in the house.
Officers arrived on the scene and knocked on the door, with a man, later confirmed as Scooter, opening and immediately shutting the door without saying a word. Not long after, while the officers were establishing a perimeter, 2 men would flee out the back. However, one would soon turn back, likely realizing that he couldn't get away, but Scooter would keep going, jumping 2 fences. But then something would happen, and Scooter would fall on the ground, suffering from a severe leg injury. Young Scooter would be taken to the ગ્રેડી Memorial Hospital, but the injury...
If you're serious about print on demand, you need to try Kittle. Kittle makes it so easy to find...
injury it suffered would prove too serious, and he would be pronounced dead.
The first being from the 200 block of William Nye Drive. In Zone 3, officers responded to a dispute with a weapon. It was advised in the call remarks that shots were fired and a female was dragged back into the location. Once officers arrived, they knocked on the door. A male opened the door and immediately shut the door on the officers.
Did they ever recover a female?
Established a perimeter. During the process of establishing the perimeter, 2 males fled out of the rear of the house. 1 male returned back into the house. The other male jumped 2 fences as he was fleeing. When officers located him on the other side of the fence, he appeared to have suffered an injury to his leg. Officers rendered aid and he was transported to ગ્રેડી Hospital, where he was pronounced deceased.
A few hours after the incident...
Okay, let's talk about it. Now, if you sustain a severe injury to your leg, could you pass away? Yeah, yes indeed. You have main arteries in your legs. Any of them get, you feel me, messed up, you could go away from here, okay? Lots of blood loss. But let's be real. I don't think that happened. I'm be real, I don't think it happened.
Social media reports would begin surfacing, which identified Scooter as the potential deceased. And although APD would not confirm his identity immediately, already that night, news reports and social media influencers will begin to report on Scooter's passing.
Good evening and thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Jennifer Bellamy. We are following breaking news right now in the city of Atlanta, where just minutes ago, Atlanta police held a news conference about the death of a 39-year-old man, Kenneth Bailey.
Hey, everybody that's in here, stay in here.
All right, the A
after we finish this, I got something for y'all.
Right now, the death of young Scooter, the news just came through.
But that wasn't all, as rumors would also immediately begin to spread that he had actually been shot by the Atlanta police.
So, it turns out Scooter gets shot by the police. We don't really know the details of it, but what we do know is when they did shoot him, he was transported to ગ્રેડી, where later he got pronounced dead.
So young Scooter got killed by the police tonight.
This is crazy, gang. This is some stuff like I wasn't even expecting to hear. Expecting to see young Scooter shot and killed by the police. That's crazy. That's so crazy, bro. I can't make this up.
However, the police would quickly deny these rumors, saying that Scooter had sustained an injury to his leg whilst jumping over the fences, but that the cause of death had not yet been confirmed.
Cody, you just stepped out of that briefing from police. A lot going on tonight. What have you learned?
Well, Jennifer, the main thing we want to set straight here, the lieutenant over homicide with Atlanta police saying they did not, in fact, shoot young Scooter. They say there were no shots fired during this ordeal tonight on William Nye Drive. As he was making his way from that home, he actually jumped 2 fences. It was during one of those jumps he landed and somehow broke a leg. Some were hearing initial reports it was a femur. Again, we don't know the details of exactly.
You passed from breaking your femur? I can't make this up. You can't make this up. It's people out here that's literally living without femurs. You telling me you fall, break your femur, and you pass away from that? Come on, gang. Let's be real. It's way too many different things happening, bro. It's way too many.
But tonight, the medical examiner says a cause and manner of death have not been confirmed.
When police were asked if the woman who had supposedly been dragged inside the house was okay, the police said that they only located 2 males at the residence and were investigating further.
Was the woman injured at all?
So we were not able to locate a female. We ended up with 2 males and the decedent.
Outside of the residence, and then a woman was drugged back into the...
That's what was reported. We have not been able to substantiate any of that, which is also a part of
our investigation.
Meanwhile, Scooter's peers from the Atlanta rap scene would begin posting tributes to him, including his good friends like Future and Young Thug, as well as the younger generation like Playboy Carti, and even Carti's arch nemesis 𝘍𝘰𝘭𝘭𝘰, this being yet another example of how Scooter didn't participate in the beefs or pick sides in Atlanta politics. Surprisingly, even 𝘍𝘰, who had just fallen out with Scooter due to Scooter not backing him up after 𝘍𝘰 was accused of snitching,
Man, we need an ad blocker, bro. Somebody put me on with an ad blocker game. Real talk.
Him up, likely heartbroken that he hadn't been able to mend their relationship before Scooter passed. But most tragic of all would be young Scooter's son, who took to Instagram to call out the Atlanta police. Scooter's passing was both tragic and strange. How could he have died from such a freak accident, and why had the police even been called to the house in the first place? The following day, answers would begin to trickle in. Medical experts would give interviews to local news, explaining how Scooter's death due to a leg injury was rare, but possible.
Well, the femoral artery is quite large, and it could, if you broke your femur and it broke badly enough, the ends of the femur fracture could be sharp enough to cut the artery.
As for the fall,
It'd have to be a very hard fall.
something you don't often see.
No, you don't. It's a relatively rare injury to have a femoral artery
I'm
death.
tired of pausing because I'm damn near over this video game. Let's be real. We gonna be stereotyping right now today. I don't care. A young black man, okay, he turned 40 or whatnot. This dude, a black male specimen, been jumping gates his whole life. You telling me he jumped this one super big gate? Come on, gang. The gate couldn't have been too big for it to be such a deep fall, gang. Like, come on. Like, come on. Y'all lying about something. Y'all
Only
lying
about
about
10
something.
to 15% of traumas, so it's not very high.
This wasn't convincing everyone though, and Young Thug, who had only recently been released from jail after fighting his own case against the Fulton County prosecutors, would come out with an explosive claim that an autopsy had come back saying that Scooter, aka Street, had been shot after all. However, Fulton County medical examiner's report would disagree with Thug's claim, stating that Scooter's injury came from the wood and fencing material, and Thug would later remove his tweet. Meanwhile, people close to Scooter would reveal that the female 911 caller had falsely claimed to be a hostage and that Scooter had actually done nothing wrong. The police would then reveal that they were now looking into the caller, who had apparently made the call from the DeKalb County, meaning that they were likely nowhere near the house, watching the offense unfold.
Not
by
missing the
plane.
jump.
Atlanta 911 operator 8715.
He know what he got in there. He's
location
not
of your
missing the jump,
emergency.
gang. He's not.
The location is 67.
The call was also placed from a so-called
Come on,
SOS
gang.
phone, which was no longer on a cellular network, making identification of the caller
You
very
broke
difficult.
and you
so they
fake
would release the
snitching.
911 call to the public in the hopes that someone would recognize the caller. The following day, the caller herself would decide to go public, turning out to be a 31-year-old Demi Blanco, real name Demetria Spence, who had previously participated in the auditions of a Zeus streaming services reality show called Baddies.
You're doing too much talking, and you're not saying nothing. You're gonna let her just interrupt you like that?
She wanna be a baddie.
She would go live on Instagram to give her version of the events, this time claiming that she was in fact the one who had been abused,
Yo,
while during the 911 call,
fame,
she had
yo,
identified
lame.
herself simply as a neighborhood watch who had seen another woman get abused.
Okay. Tell me exactly what happened.
Okay, so I'm the neighborhood watch.
There's a reaction for every action. This is part A. You guys didn't have part A. You guys only had part B. And the narrative, it looks like I was trying to set this man up because you guys don't have part B. I'm giving you part B. I'm giving you what led up to the call. I was physically abused, so I called to protect myself. That's the issue. That's part A.
Bro, I can't
I
listen
never
to this
had
no
any
more for
intentions to
real.
get anybody hurt.
I can't listen to this no more. Is this almost over?
I was the one that was getting hurt. And I came here to say my truth.
Man, fuck your truth.
I was
Paul and her explanation would anger many people who would accuse her of swatting young Scooter, with rumors spreading that she had been mad at one of Scooter's friends who had gone to his birthday party without her.
I recorded this like 4 times already, bruh, because this makes me so mad. I'm trying to remain composed, all right?
Nah, I ain't gonna lie, that would
But
make so
this
much
is just
money
disgusting.
too. That'd be
this
fire.
is Demi Blanco,
Imagine
aka
that.
girl
Nate
la,
Dixie
la,
versus
la, la,
McGirt.
la, 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 la,
That'd be tough, I ain't gonna lie.
on Instagram.
That's well
right?
overdue.
5 lives. So she is dating one.
What are you still doing here? You still have not downloaded Pi Adblock? You know I'm just gonna keep showing up on your screen until you download it, right? Honestly, it's
Is my computer listening to me? I said I need an ad blocker. I asked y'all in chat for an ad blocker. Why am I getting a ad for ad blocker? It's time to shut you off, Twin.
Young Scooter's homies. Now, we're not going to say who her boyfriend is, bro, because honestly, bro ain't do nothing wrong. I don't even want to involve bro in his nonsense. So she's dating one of Young Scooter's homie. Now, here's the thing. Young Scooter and his homie, they're supposed to have a kickback, a little party later that day for Young Scooter.
Shit, they got a kid now.
She wasn't invited, though.
That's the government listening.
Because she wasn't invited or because she couldn't come, this scallywag decided she was going to call the police and make a false report to get
all
the
of this is
event
over
or party
and no
shut
invite.
down preemptively before it even began.
This is
before
really childish. This is
Imagine
petty.
the type of witchcraft you have to be to call the police and make a report that flagrant at a house that your boyfriend is at. Knowing the history of Atlanta PD and private citizens, knowing how overzealous Atlanta PD is, at that point, making that call, you made the decision in your mind, you are content if Atlanta PD killed your boyfriend, as long as he ain't partying with no girls.
If these rumors are true, this woman is next level evil, because based on all the things that she was claiming that were happening in the house.
There was literally a
practice on his
shooting.
wife.
There is literally a whole domestic dispute going on. These guys they're like selling drugs in and out of the house. All you see is guys coming in and out of the house with guns and something, holding guns in the air. I'm not sure if they're pimping. This girl doesn't have.
I don't want to hear this no more. It's genuinely pissing me off.
There's also
Was a very high
child in danger?
Child in danger as well because she has a baby.
She must have known that there was a very high chance that people inside this house would get hurt. But the craziest thing is that we have no idea how many people she thought were actually in the house. After all, it was supposed to be Young Scooter's birthday, meaning that this lady might have been willing to get a whole house full of people hurt just to get back at her boyfriend. After the caller's identity would begin spreading online, it wouldn't take long for the Atlanta police to find and arrest her, charging her for transmitting false public alarm and giving her a $7,500 bond. As she was arrested, Scooter's family would provide a statement through their publicist saying that they were devastated but still waiting for more information to come out to understand exactly what happened, as well as highlighting how Scooter was not just an artist, but also a father and a mentor to many youths in Atlanta. Also, Future would keep posting about Scooter, his death clearly cutting him deep, saying how his life would never be the same. Ultimately, the facts are still murky. We can't definitively say at this stage exactly what happened to Young Scooter, and while it'd be wrong to jump to conclusions and conspiracy theories about whether or not this was a tragic accident
I'm
or foul
leapfrogging
play
to
by the police,
conclusions, nigga.
unfortunately, American police do have a dark history of brutality.
We don't want to hear it. Listen, bro, this is the end of the video, bro. If y'all enjoy it, like, comment, subscribe. And once again, bro, if y'all do watch this video and y'all would prefer to watch the streams too, subscribe and tune in to the live streams, man. I'm going to stay J out.